Part 1. Discovery. I'm supposed to say what I saw and leave the rest alone. I'm supposed to put things into a neat order. Lens cap off, index file, timestamp, faces, names, events. That's how we pretend this kind of thing is simpler than it is. Stack the pieces in a row and call it a story. You can follow a line, even if it leads into the dark. I will follow it with you. The camera was found a week after the storm, in a break of knotty pines and chokecherry scrub. The ranger said it looked like a lost tooth in a mouthful of dead leaves. It was stuck halfway into the mud, half in, half out, the strap wrapped around a root like something was trying to hold it. He didn't pick it up by the strap. He used gloves, and still his hands smelled like rust and something sweet for the rest of the day. When the bag came to me, it wasn't a camera anymore. It was a container for stains. The zipper on the case had dried lines of brown in the teeth like plaque. There was hair in the Velcro. Dried needles clung to the foam padding. The lens cover had a chip at the edge, white plastic bone showing through black paint. I catalogued before I breathed. I wrote down the serial number, the brand, the memory size. I noted the weight because it seemed wrong. Heavier, as if the device remembered what it had recorded and refused to be light again. I powered it on at my desk while the rain ticked at the window. I told myself the smell wasn't as strong once it was out of the bag, that the air was taking it apart. It didn't. It settled around me and stayed. I connected the cable. The computer chirped and the screen popped open, a directory like a shrug. DCIM, 264 files. I didn't watch them in order. I should have. If you don't want to feel like you're being pulled along by something you can't see, you stick to the order. But I clicked on the first thumbnail with a face. Maybe I wanted something human right away, to put a boundary around the rest. The face belonged to a boy who wanted to be a man. He was broad-shouldered and in love with the idea of being broad-shouldered, smiling at his own size, impression every time the camera reflected him in a window. He told the camera his name was Mason. Behind him were 2 tents rolled neat and snug, bags of food like bright toys, the bone-white handle of a hatchet. The background trees were old and self-important, pine, birch, oak, dark, dark, dark. It was late morning. He wore sunglasses as if the sun were a force he knew by first name. "This is the famous trailhead," he said, and kicked at a wooden post stamped with carved letters. Walter's Run. The R had been split by a crack and looked like something broken attempting to stand straight. We hike in, we camp, we conquer. Day 1. He turned the camera to his friends. You could tell the order of their closeness by how they stood. The closest to him was Tori, a sharp-jawed girl with a black beanie and a smile she saved for when she thought no one was looking. She wore a small silver charm at her throat, some animal or god, too small to make out. Joe stood behind her and laughed too loudly at nothing, too ready to be fine. Her hair was the color of wheat at the edge of wildfire, and Sam waited inside his hoodie like it was a cave. He had the look of someone who exists to fix things and hates when anyone notices. "Say hi, Wilderness," Mason said. "Hi, Wilderness," Tori said in a voice low and flat, but her eyes went long and bright when she glanced over Mason's shoulder, as if looking into the trees meant looking into glass. Sam lifted his hand and let it fall. Joe did a little bow to the camera like a stagehand remembering to be seen. "Let's go," Mason said, and he started down the trail that opened like a throat. That was the first clip I watched. I should tell you now. Later clips show blood. Before that, they show the kind of mistakes people make when they think it will be a story they tell at a bar. They leave the car too near the sign. They forget to cinch the food bag high enough. They laugh at a warning posted low on a fence because the font looks childish. They say they know a thing because they read a paragraph about it once. I tried the next file, then the next. Time moved in little jumps. Late morning to early afternoon, the sun smearing itself across their shoulders as the trees tried to filter it. The woods had the sound all woods have in the middle of the day, when every small thing is busy. Bird flickers, insect sizzle, leaves practicing their whispers. They hiked. Mason narrated as if he were the first person to point at bark and call it bark. Joe sang bits of songs and forgot the words. Tori filmed the ground more than anything else, her boots and roots and the sudden shy flash of mushrooms, like little mouths trying to form a sentence. Sam ran fingers over blazes in the trunks, blue paint gone chalky with time. At 28 minutes into a file labeled MVI_0412, Sam stopped and put his hand against a tree as if he was trying to feel its pulse. "This one's wrong," he said. It might have been a joke. No one took it as one. Part 2, Descent. Part 2, Descent. The bag didn't leave my desk. I told myself it was because evidence chains are easier when the chain is just you. That's a lie. The truth is, I didn't want to see anyone else touch it. The idea of someone unzipping it wrong, looking at the files wrong, like it might notice, made my jaw tight. When I came in the next morning, the air was colder around my chair. Not by much, just enough to make me feel I'd walked through a thin doorway. I told myself that was my imagination. I told myself I hadn't left the bag open overnight. But the zipper was halfway down, teeth apart like something had tested the idea of opening. I connected the cable. I didn't start at the next file. I skipped ahead 3, maybe 4, thinking if I avoided a straight line, it couldn't follow me back. The screen flickered once before settling. MVI A425. The camera catches Mason in mid-step, one boot on the trail, the other in air. His mouth is open as if to speak, but no sound comes. Not silence, just the absence of the shape sound makes. Behind him, Tori is adjusting the strap on her pack, looking towards something off to the left. Joe is half hidden by Mason's arm. Sam is gone. I scrubbed back a few seconds. Sam was there in frame 112. He was gone in frame 113. No stumble, no motion blur, no blocking object, just the space he'd taken up, collapsing into air and shadow. The others don't react. Mason finishes his step. Tori tightens the strap. Joe blinks at nothing. The trail ahead curves slightly, the way trails do when they want you to think there's something good around the bend. MVI 0426. Tori is holding the camera now. Her voice is quieter than before, speaking like she's under something heavy. "We'll see him at the overlook," Mason says, his voice stretched, too low, like the tape was running a fraction slow. He's probably taking a shortcut. "You can't shortcut in the woods," Joe says. She laughs once, but it's the wrong shape for laughter. The trees here are wrong in a new way. Not the light, though it's still too clean at the edges, but the repetition. The same twisted oak appears in 3 different shots at 3 different angles, but it's not the angle that's wrong. It's the fact that the scar on its trunk, a long vertical slash like someone cutting open a coat, always faces the camera. Always. There's a sound again, but it's not breath, pause, or line. It's a low rhythmic tap. 4 beats. Stop. 4 beats. Like knuckles on wood far away. MVI 0427. Night. Or something pretending. The fire is smaller. Mason keeps feeding it twigs instead of logs, as if he doesn't want to give it too much to burn. Joe is on the far side, staring past the camera. Her lips are moving, but she's not speaking to anyone in the frame. Tori whispers to the camera, "There's something walking around us." Her whisper warps. When I replay it, the last word, us, comes back pitched higher, like a child said it. The camera pans slowly. There are trunks, shadow, dark. And then, a pale oval, high up, moving between trees. For a moment, I think it's the moon. But the light isn't right. It moves against the direction the trees are swaying. The microphone distorts. The image glitches, skips ahead 3 seconds. When it clears, the oval is gone, and Jo is closer to the fire than she was before. Too close. The skin of her cheeks is pink with heat, but she doesn't blink. MVI_0428. The camera's lens is fogged. The frame wobbles as Tori walks fast, breathing hard. Mason isn't in view. Jo is behind her, muttering. Words drop out like teeth. Don't need to see it. Don't need to. It already knows. The trees blur past, but now and then, the same white-barked birch with peeling skin appears on both sides of the trail, seconds apart. Always. Peeling toward them. A flicker of static. Jo's voice stops. There's just the tap, tap, tap. 4 beats. Close now. Right next to the microphone. The camera jerks to the right. Nothing there. MVI0429. Tori's face fills the frame. She's crying, but the tears roll upward, toward her hairline like gravity has forgotten her. She says, "Don't watch this part." Then the clip ends. I paused there. Not because I wanted to, but because the cable to the camera felt warm. Not room warm. Living warm. When I looked down, the bag's zipper had opened another inch. MVI_0430. It starts mid-scream. Not the kind of scream you warm up to, a sudden animal thing, torn out of someone's throat. The image is chaos, pine needles whipping past, the camera swinging like it's in a bag. There's a thud, a grunt. Something heavy is breathing hard, but it's not human. A shape flickers in the corner of the frame, low to the ground, pale against the dark. It's there for 2 frames, gone for 6, back again but closer, moving in a way that ignores the rhythm of walking. It just is in more than one place. The sound spikes, the 4-beat tapping, but now it's pounding, and it's inside the camera's microphone. The audio peaks into digital tearing. MVI_0431. The camera is upright again. Tori's holding it, chest heaving. The firelight behind her is wrong. Too steady, not flickering, like a photograph of fire instead of fire itself. "Mason's gone," she says. "It took him. It took him like pulling a weed out of wet dirt." Her voice breaks. She glances over her shoulder. Behind her, between 2 trees, something stands. I freeze the frame. It's tall, thin. The proportions are wrong. Arms too long, head too far forward. The skin, or what looks like skin, is pale, almost luminous. But the worst part is that it doesn't blur with the trees. The camera's depth of field collapses where it stands, like it refuses to be behind anything. Tori doesn't turn. She just walks backward, fast until she's out of frame. The thing stays where it is, but the tap, tap, tap continues. Closer, though its limbs never move. MVI_0432. Jo's face tilted at an unnatural angle. For the first 10 seconds, I think the camera's rotated, but then her head shifts, and I see her neck. The bend is wrong. Her eyes are open. Her lips move like she's chewing something dry. The camera jerks. Tori's voice yells, "Run!" Jo moves then, not toward the camera, but away into the trees. Her body moves too smoothly, as if her joints have forgotten they exist. MVI_0433. Running footage. Branches whip across the lens, catching and dragging streaks of shadow into the image. The microphone rattles with breath and something else, like teeth clicking together far too fast. A blur darts across the trail ahead. Tori yells, "Sam!" But when the camera swings, the figure isn't Sam. It's too tall, too thin, and its head snaps toward the lens with a motion that's instant, no in-between frames. The camera drops. The last second is dirt, pine needles, and a thin, pale foot stepping into frame. MVI_0434. The clip opens with static, faint shapes in the snowstorm of it. Faces, maybe, eyes wide. For 3 frames, Mason's voice. It's in the... before being cut by a burst of distorted tapping. When the image clears, the ground is wet and red. The camera tilts slowly upward. Something drags Mason's body into the trees, head first, as if gravity is running the wrong way for him alone. The sound of his boots scraping the dirt continues for a second after his legs vanish. At this point, my monitor cut to black. Not the video, the monitor. When it came back on, the playback was at the menu screen, and MVI_0434's thumbnail was gone. The bag was unzipped halfway again. Part 3. Collapse. I had to open the bag with both hands this time. The zipper felt stiff, like the teeth had set overnight. The smell hit sharper. Rust, earth, and something that reminded me of freezer-burned meat. I connected the cable. The first file in the list had no thumbnail, just a black square. Its name wasn't in sequence. MVE VOID 00. MVI VOID 00. The first half-second is silence, then an eruption of wind. The image flickers between forest and black, as if the lens is opening and closing on its own. In the forest frames, Tori is pulling Joe by the wrist, both of them stumbling. Joe's mouth is moving fast, too fast, like the frames can't catch all the words. Every few seconds, the screen distorts. Colors smear, shapes double. In one distortion, there's a third figure between them. Too tall, too close. The audio carries a strange layering. Tori's breath, Joe's muttering, and something else, like someone gently brushing the microphone with fingertips. MVI_0435. Tori has the camera pressed to her chest. The sound is muffled. She whispers, "It's changing the paths. We go in circles." She pulls the camera up and points at the trail ahead. The same birch with peeling bark stands there, always peeling toward them. She swings the camera behind, another birch. She turns in place, more birches, all peeling inward. "Don't point it at them," Joe says suddenly, slapping the lens down. "It likes that." MVI_0436. The fire is gone. The campsite is bare. No tents, no bags, just a circle of damp earth where the fire should be. Joe stands in the middle, looking up. Her eyes are wide, her jaw slack. When Tori moves toward her, Joe shudders like she's been snapped out of something. "It's in the sky," she says. Tori points the lens up. For 2 frames, there's no sky, just a pale oval filling the whole frame, breathing in and out. Then static. MVI_0437. Running again. Heavy footfalls behind the camera, but too many, like a dozen feet moving in perfect sync. The sound pans unnaturally, swapping from left ear to right without the camera turning. Joe trips. Tori swings down to help her. That's when the thing enters the frame, not from the side, but from the edge of the image itself, as if it stepped out of the border. Its face, if it's a face, is pale, stretched, and flat, like something pressed against glass from the other side. The audio spikes into a scream, but it's not theirs. MVI_0438. Joe is gone. No scream, no drag marks. Just Tori, standing still, the camera pointed at her own feet. She says, "It's behind you," but she's looking into the lens. The frame shivers. The dirt beneath her boots darkens, spreading like liquid seeping up instead of down. The image warps, the ground above, the trees below. The sky folds in the center until it's just black. MVI_0439. Static. Then my office. The empty desk. The bag, zipped. Someone is breathing just out of frame. Part 4. Final tape. The list of files had only one more entry. MVI_0440. No thumbnail, just black. I hesitated. Not out of fear. I'd gone past that. It was something closer to recognition, like when you're reading a book you've never seen before, and you already know the last sentence. I clicked. MVI0440. The first frame is pure darkness, not night darkness. Too complete, too clean. Then a voice. It's still here. Tori. Her breathing is ragged. The camera shakes in her hands and faint, pale movement stirs in the black. She lifts the lens toward herself. Her face is smeared with dirt. One cheek is streaked with something darker. Her eyes are wide but fixed, like she's looking past the screen, through it. It wants me to keep filming, she says. It doesn't care if I see it, it just wants me to keep filming. She swings the camera outward. The world around her is wrong in ways the lens can barely hold. Trees leaning toward her like they're caught mid-step, shadows with sharper edges than the things that cast them. The pale figure moves between them, but never quite in motion. It's there, then nearer still. MV 4. Timestamp 00:31. A sound, close. The 4-beat tapping. Only now it's not wood. It's the plastic of the camera body. Tap, 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 tap. Tori freezes. You can't come in here, she whispers, but it's not clear if she means the tent or the camera itself. The picture warps. The borders ripple inward as if the footage is being pulled through a funnel. When it clears, the perspective is different, slightly higher, slightly tilted, like the camera is no longer in her hands. Tori is on her knees, arms slack at her sides. She stares upward, mouth open. Above her, the branches knot together into a solid shape, a ceiling made of wood and shadow and something pale. The shape breathes. The camera jerks forward suddenly, too suddenly for her to have moved it. MVI 004. Timestamp 00417. A close-up of her face. Something moves beneath her skin, a ripple from jaw to temple, as though a finger is tracing its way up from the inside. Her eyes flick to the lens. It's not the woods, she says. The woods are inside it. The frame shakes violently. The picture tears into vertical lines like blinds slamming shut. When it clears, she's gone. The ground where she was kneeling is bare, save for the antler charm lying in the dirt. The peeling bark birch stands behind it, facing the lens. The bark moves. Slowly, deliberately, the curl of white pulls further outward, like paper from a wet book. Behind it, blackness. Not shadow, not hollow. Black like the first frame. The camera tilts forward, toward it. MVI 00440. Timestamp 00:62. The image is all black now, except for the pale oval of the birch's opening, closer and closer, until it fills the frame. Inside, faint shapes shift, too tall, bending wrong, their movements skipping like bad playback. The tapping begins again, slow, patient. 1, 2, 3, 4. Closer now. 1, 2, 3 dash. The screen cuts. When the video ended, my monitor stayed black. No cursor, no desktop, just black, and the faint sound of breathing in my headphones. I reached for the cable, but before I touched it, the bag on my desk shifted. Just an inch, as if something inside had pressed a hand against the fabric. I zipped it shut. It was already zipped. That's the last file in the camera. That's all I have. If you're watching this, I hope to God you're not watching this.